God Killers, an interesting concept in fiction that has you on the edge of your seats. Now for a battle between some of the most iconic God Killers, the ghost of Sparta, Kratos, of God of War, and Asura, the deity of wrath, of Asura's wrath. So out of these hot-headed, bloodthirsty killers, who will bathe in each other's blood first? So for Kratos, I've gone over him in the past, but I would like to reevaluate his scaling because I have higher scaling for him now, for at least his AP that is. Something we do need to go over is the size of the realms. In the Greek saga, the realms are at least 5D, that being because we already have Uranus that created the universe, and it was later stated that Kronos gave birth to time when he was born. Meaning before they only had 3 spatial dimensions, and with the birth of Kratos he added the 1 temporal dimension being time, which made it 4D. It's later stated in the God of War 3 that Athena, which when she died in her sacrifice, made her ascend into a higher plane of existence, or there being a higher dimension, or they're having a higher dimension already compared to their 4th dimensional universe, making there a 5th dimensional there, or even Kratos scaling to Athena, which would also make him 5th dimensional. Now the realms in the Norse have no indication of them being any inferior to Greek. That's important because Yggdrasil stated just the strands of the tree alone transcend time and space, making them just 6D, just the strands mind you. And each branch are infinite, filled with each of these strands that transcend time and space. All the realms rest upon the branches and are drawn relative in size to the branches. All the realms are like relative in size, even stated and kind of shown, right? And again, each of these branches encompassing an infinite amount of 6D strands, making the branches, or at least the tree itself, around 7D because it's encompassing an infinite amount of infinite 6D constructs. And by proximity, the realms themselves, since being in drawn relativity to the branches, at least the tree itself would also be 7D, but this tree itself would sure scale to this. This is important because just the clash between Thor and Jormungandr split the tree and was throughout all of the realms. And speed is still the same. He drastically outscales the primordials who existed before even time existed, which would mean they could have inaccessible speed. But the more realistic speed skills that not only could he affect or exist outside the tree of Yggdrasil, which just the strands alone transcend time and space, but Thor can hit Jormungandr so hard that it sends him back in time, essentially breaking the speed formula again, making Kratos having immeasurable speed because he just drastically scales to, if not above, Thor, and he can easily tank those hits and even end up beating him at the end. So yes, he would scale to that speed, as well as the other feats mentioned prior, which makes it consistent. And Kratos has a lot of abilities that are battle applicable, so I'll only be mentioning the ones that I think are valid. He has fate, probability, and causality manipulation sets resistance due to him resisting the sisters of fate and not being able to dictate him, which also control all that can happen as happened within the verse. Kratos even forged his own destiny, which also give him by proximity his own manipulation over said concepts. Conceptual manipulation and non-physical interaction via being able to actually defeat Thanatos, who is the concept of death, and also using the concept of hope and being the concept of fear, as well as abstract existence being the actual concept of hope, and after killing Thanatos actually even becoming the concept of death as well, stated by Zeus, mind you. And type 4 and 8 immortality due to him being able to reincarnate as long as hope still exists, and approximately also death since he's directly tied to the concepts, as well as immortality negation type 4 and 8 due to him being able to kill Thanatos, Zeus, as well as type 5 being more potent than the flames of Olympus that can even kill Pandora, who's neither alive nor dead. And he has soul manipulation, but I mean, he did just yank Hades' soul right out of him. Kind of speaks out itself. He also has way more soul-related feats, but as well as existence erasure due to him having Poseidon's rage that can destroy both the physical and spiritual body. That would be all of his relevant abilities or hacks, so let's move on to Asura. So for Asura, we've never actually gone over him on this channel yet, but there isn't too much to go over, so this will be relatively quick. Something to note that Asura at the end of his gameplay was in his most weakest state, was able to fight toe-to-toe with Chakravartin. Mind you, Chakravartin, and I quote, is the omnipotent god of his verse that created everything, including beings of quote-unquote immeasurable power. Remember that. Everything is in the palm of his hands. Quite literally, he also created the world and has been able to stay to destroy and remake it many times over. Now, world in this context actually means universe because one, they actually refer to the planet as the planet they live on as the planet, not to mention this is Buddhist inspired, which when they say the word world in Buddhism, they usually mean the actual cosmos or universe. So there are about 6 universes, 1 being the actual mainline universe, 2 being Naraka, 3 being another Naraka, 4 being his own realm that he made. and he claims there's other worlds he has to most venture and guide, plural being the word means to at least 2, so all around it'll be 5 or 6 different universes. So how big are these universes? Well, just state that Naraka is endless and you can be consistent due to him being able to create or other beings having a quote-unquote immeasurable power existing in these other universes that are implied to be similar to Naraka anyway, so they can all be argued infinite in size. And he scales with them because they were able to, for one, he created and destroyed them all. Even on screen, it's been shown to destroy one. Even Asura has been shown to destroy one on screen. Now, with all these worlds being separate space-times, you could argue the cosmology being low multi or high uni at the very least. Now for speed, it's actually very simple to go over. He was able to dodge a laser that was able to travel millions of light years and even travel that same difference in a lesser time frame that was calculated at over 17 trillion times the speed of light. The calc will be linked in the description below. And for the higher speed arguments he has, probably one of the most funniest infinite speed arguments I've ever heard of. When he dies, he ends up in Naraka. And he just climbed out of the pillars, which is stated to be endless. And if he's truly climbing out of this infinite realm, then you can argue he has infinite speed. And for the utmost highest level speed is due to him Chakravartin having a potential stop time ability. Now Asura could potentially move right before he would attack, potentially giving him inaccessible speed. And with that, let's move on to his battle applicable abilities. And for his battle applicable abilities, he doesn't really have all that many besides immortality via reincarnation and soul and existence erasure or resistance. And he has a really high level of reactive power level. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the conclusion of this battle. So if we measure up the stats, we do see that Kratos is taking an overwhelmingly advantage over Asura. In my own opinion, I never thought this was a close fight. Asura just doesn't have too much scaling altogether for him. He has got some really decent, great feats towards the end of the story, but on the other hand, Kratos has had years to build up with more content and more feats, especially not to mention he's based off actual mythology that tend to have way greater feats. Not saying that Buddhism doesn't have any feats, but the thing is that it's not like a clear-cut Buddhism as, for example, Journey to the West. That would be a whole lot different. But the thing is, Asura has really not too much to bring. Kratos is just far stronger, faster, and even battle-wise, even way smarter than Asura too. This was a clear-cut fight. Even his quote-unquote immortality is literally negated by Kratos, since he's literally killed beings that have reincarnation or just even far greater forms of immortality. Even Kratos' lowest speed here that we get him to would make him literally equal to Asura's most highest speed tier, and strength's not even a contest. So if we just see the stats, we do see that Kratos does take this, and it's not even close. And with that out of the way, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Discord link in the description below. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos. I have a few videos that you guys actually paid me to do, which I'll be getting to those some sooner than other, but I also want to get some videos out of the way first. Anyway, that'll be all. Mr. Crafty, out.